Hello, everybody. I am Sia, a third year MBBS student from AIIMS Nagpur, and today we are back with the second video of solving the previous year question series of the chapter Breathing and Exchange of Gases. In the previous lecture, we have solved half of the previous year questions of the chapter Breathing and Exchange of Gases. In that video, we have seen what are the important topics that the examiner is trying to focus on. And in this lecture, we are going to focus on the other set of questions of the chapter Breathing and Exchange of Gases. So let's go through this questions and try to get understanding what the examiner is demanding from you and what are the concepts that you as a student and as an aspirant should be able to understand and comprehend so that you can solve the question. So let's start with our first question for today's session. That is question number 21. The question from 1 to question number 20 are solved in the previous video. You can surely check it out so that you have a better understanding and you can continue and complete your previous year question. So let's see what this question number 21 is asking us. So question number 21, the question is to select the correct events that occur during inspiration. All right. In this question, the examiner is trying to know, do you know what happens, all the processes, all the changes that occurs in one's body during inspiration? So similarly, a question can be asked based on expiration. So let us try to understand the concept. And once we get the concept, even if the question is asking about inspiration or expiration, you will be able to answer it. Correct. So I want you to imagine of you right now. Just try to take a deep breath. Try to inhale. So as you are inhaling, you are seeing that the sternum, the ribs are coming outwards, right? Just try to take a deep breath inside. Correct. So there is outward movement of sternum and ribs. Now this is the observable changes. But what are the internally going side changes? What are the changes that is occurring inside our chest cavity, inside our lungs? That we can't see. Then what are the changes? Okay, now I want you to use your logic and you will be able to answer this question. Just simply use your logic. Now we are talking about inspiration, correct? In inspiration, we have to take in, take the air in. Now we are taking the air from outside atmosphere. So air has to move from outside into our lungs. So it will be only possible when the outside pressure is more. This will occur when there is higher pressure in the outside, that is atmosphere. Correct. So that air will move from a high pressure to low pressure area. To low pressure area, correct? And think of it as whenever you want to store something, when you want to intake something, you will make sure that you bring a bigger vessel. What do I mean by bigger vessel? When I say bigger vessel, I mean we have to increase the volume of lungs. Why do we have to increase the volume of lungs? So that more of the air can be uh, inside the lungs, more of the air can enter inside the lungs. So we want to have high volume. So if we want to have high volume, we would want the lungs to expand. But what is the issue is that these are our lungs and they are resting on a diaphragm. Correct? So it is resting on a diaphragm. Now these are lungs. Just imagine them to be lungs. Okay. So if we want to inflate the lung, we want to increase its volume. So in order to increase its volume, this is what is going to happen. The lungs will come down. So if lungs are going down, the diaphragm would straighten. This would happen when the diaphragm contracts. So the process occurring in inspiration is contraction of diaphragm. Diaphragm is actually a muscle, correct? Diaphragm is a muscle playing important role in the process of inspiration and expiration. Now we have seen three things. One is increase in the volume of lungs. Second, contraction of diaphragm. Third, outward movement of sternum and ribs. And there is just one more thing that you should know, that is there is are there involvement of any muscles. So in inspiration, it is an active process. So there is contraction of muscle. There is one more muscle that is getting contracted. There is contraction of external external intercostal muscle. Now, what is this external intercostal muscle? These are the muscle attached between your ribs, and when they contract, they will help the ribs and sternum to move out. There are four things occurring: contraction of the external intercostal muscle. That is it. And opposite of these three things are going to happen in expiration. In expiration, if the examiner wants to ask you, there is going to be opposite. Everything is going to be opposite. Now, there is one important concept. It is important that you focus here. Remember that I'll use a different pen so that it is highlighted. Expiration is a passive process. That means there is no need of muscle contraction. Correct? So you remember this. But we have a set of muscles you might have read in your NCERT known as the internal intercostal muscle. Correct? So I have told you about external intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscles. So we have two set of muscles. Now these external intercostal muscles, you have seen that it is being utilized in inspiration. And now I have been telling you that expiration is a passive process and there is no need of muscle contraction. So what is the function of this internal intercostal muscle? It is going to function only when you are going to do forced expiration. Okay, that's it. Now you might get confused during inspiration. Is it internal intercostal or external intercostal? Now there can't be three. Just a trick that how I used to remember. When you say internal intercostal, it feels a bit weird to say that. And also you can remember I won't go. Three times I won't go together. So internal intercostal is not an inspiration, it is a forced expiration. Now let's apply this concept, and using this concept, we will be definitely be able to solve this question. Now in this question, when we read option A, that is contraction of diaphragm. So have we seen here that there is contraction of the diaphragm? So yes. So we have to find the option that includes one. So let's see option A, B, C, D. Now you can easily see in option B and option D we have one, but in option A and C there is no one, and we are very sure that there has to be contraction of diaphragm in order to take this inspiration. Correct? So that means we can rule out option A and C. And this is what you have to do in your exams. You are supposed to rule out every option and then come to a correct answer. So rule out option A and option C. Now we are left with option B and option D. You can see that there is option 2 is common in both. So no need to waste your time in reading option 2. Just see what is the difference between option B. In option B and option D, there is difference of fourth option. And what the fourth option says, there is increase in the intrapulmonary pressure. Now you tell me, if there is, let us understand here. If they are saying inside the lung we have high pressure. If we have high pressure inside the lung during inspiration, will the air from the outside come inside? Is it possible? No, it won't be possible. So definitely that is a wrong statement. And we have seen here that if we want to have inspiration, the pressure inside the intrapulmonary pressure should be less. So option 4 is wrong. Hence, we can mark option D as a correct answer. Okay. So here we have understood the concept, be it inspiration, be it expiration, the involvement of muscle. I want you to highlight these 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, 3 eyes cannot come together. Remember it like this. We have solved this question using this concept. And we have also understood through this question how we are supposed to rule out and eliminate the option to come to our correct answer and stop wasting your time in trying to read all the options. You have to save your time, and you can do that by eliminating the options. So we have got the correct answer for this question. Let's move ahead to question number 22. Now, question number 22 is again asking you the majority of carbon dioxide produced by our body cells in transported to lung is via. That is again, as we have discussed in the previous lecture about the few concepts that are being repeatedly asked, one of the concepts that we had discussed there was the transport of CO2. And I have asked you to make a box around this because it is very, very, very important. Because as you have seen in the previous video and also in this video, there is a repetitive question based on this concept. Now, see, this is the beauty. You just have to remember one, two, and three lines. And the concept is such easy and simple concept of three lines, but you will find that this concept is being asked in various 30 questions. Three-line concept asking 30 questions. So that is what you need to pay your attention. You need to do smart work and focus on such concepts that are being asked repeatedly. This is what is smart work. This is smart work, and we are here to help you understand the smart work. You just try to focus, try to understand, and be smart enough to understand what is smart. Okay, so this is the thing that you have to refer to solve this question. Now you have the answer right in front of you. Is majority of CO2 is 70% of CO2 is transported as bicarbonate ions. So option A is clearly the correct answer. The option A is the correct answer. Now let us just revise once again since it is an important concept. Let me help you revise it one more time. Close your books, close your uh, this and just close your eyes and just try to tell me what is the maximum or the 70% carbon dioxide transported as. Yes, the correct answer is bicarbonate ion HCO3 minus. Then what percentage is the carbon dioxide transported as carb amino hemoglobin? When I'm saying carb amino hemoglobin, I am asking you that what percentage of CO2 is transported with hemoglobin in the RBC? Yes, you are correct. It is around 20 to 25%. And we have last, the 7% is being transported in the form of dissolved form and where it is dissolved in the plasma. Okay, so we have revised this important concept. Now let us just move ahead and solve the next question number 23. Okay, the question number 23 is asking you the quantity 1500 ml in the respiratory volume of normal human adult refers to. Okay, so this is the question about volume and capacities. Now, we have discussed in the previous video that this concept of volume and capacities, it is a bit confusing. Why is it a bit confusing? Because you are supposed to remember. You just have to simply remember the values. Even you can't do anything, even I can't do anything. Because this is a totally not even understanding. So just retrofying the values. You're supposed to remember, you're supposed to by heart the values. And if you know the values, you will be able to solve the question very easily. So that's why we have asked you to use a sticky note, write all these values and stick it on the wall so that you regularly view these values and you are able to remember it and memorize it. Because unless you memorize it, unless you know the values, you won't be able to solve the question. Okay. So the question here is asking you about volume. So let us move to NCRT, or instead of NCRT, let us move to the table which we had made in the previous video and refer that. And I want you to move back to the table which you have made with me and try to answer this question. Now they are asking you about around 1500 ml. Now you can see that 1500 ml is about the closest value to 1500 is residual volume. The residual is the closest value. But we also have expiratory reserve volume and we also have residual volume that have similar values. Expiratory reserve volume and residual volume. This is around 1100 to 1200 and this is around 1000 to 1100. These are the values that we have referred with the help of NCR. Now, what should we mark? Now, I know in the question it is given 1500 and none of it matches with it. The exact is not matched, but again, you have to just tell me which is the most appropriate, which is the most appropriate value that is given. The most appropriate would be the residual volume. Hence, option B would be the correct answer. All right, that's it. So again, I know it is a bit difficult to memorize this concept, these values, but again, you have to do a bit of effort. You have to see it again and again, and this would help you memorize it. Once you memorize it, this such questions become real easy because you have memorized it by heart and you just see the question and you're able to mark the answer. So try to memorize it properly. Okay. So let's move to our next question number 24. The question number 24, the air is breathed through. Okay, so in this question, the examiner is trying to know that do you know the basic concept? Do you know how, when you respire the air from the outside, how it is going to travel inside your body? So, this is a very basic understanding. You can just correlate it with yourself right now to make it uh, fixed into your brain. So, let's just see. Let's just try to understand how. So, this is air from the atmosphere. We inspired the air is going to move through the nose. And try to imagine the air is moving through your nose, it is going to go back, back, back. And it reaches the back, that place, the back of the place where the air is going to reach is known as pharynx. Now, there is a point that pharynx is a common point. It is a common point, common point for both air as well as food. This can also be a potential question that the examiner might put in front of you. That what is the common point between air and food? So you should know that it is pharynx. So let us focus on the pathway of air. Now we have come to pharynx. The air is going to move further into larynx. First is pharynx, then is larynx, and then we have then the air is going to move into the trachea. From the trachea, there is going to be bifurcation of trachea, and it is going to go into the bronchi. And bronchi, as you know, is the bigger as a macro. And inside the bronchi, we have small, small bronchioles. Now, bronchioles are small, small, minute, many small, small things inside the bronchi. Okay. And after the bronchioles, they are going to go into the alveoli, where actual exchange occurs. Correct. Now, again, a few points that might be asked you as a question. The larynx, they might ask you, is known as the sound box. Now, but what is the problem? Many a times, students forget what is the sequence of larynx, pharynx, and trachea. I know even I had faced this problem, so let me help you with a trick. Let me give you a plot twist so that you can remember. Remember plot. It's a trick to remember plot. First is the pharynx, then is the larynx, and then is the trachea. This is just for making it a word. And you can't just remember PLT, right? So that's why I told you to remember plot. Okay. So based on this information, let us try to answer this question. So let us just try to fit, and we can see that nostril, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli is correctly fitting. The mnemonic plot is correctly fitting. So if you know this, you will be able to answer this question with answer that is option number C, and this would fetch you correct 4 marks. So that's it. You just have to remember about this pathway. You can use the trick plot to remember it, and you will be able to answer this question. Okay, so let's move to our next question. That is question number 25. Now, question number 25 is asking carbonic anhydrase occurs in. Now, if you have attended the previous lecture on this topic's previous year question, you would know we have discussed about Ca. And when I said Ca, what is the full form of Ca? It is nothing but carbonic anhydrase. Now, where is this present? What is its function? We have actually seen it, but just let's revise it again here. So, this carbonic anhydrase enzyme is present inside your RBCs, and this is going to fasten your reaction. It is going to make your reaction very, very fast. And okay, now we have got the answer as C. Option C is the correct answer. We know that. But let us just again revise the thing that carbonic anhydrase is doing so that you can revise as well as solve the previous year questions simultaneously. It is ultimately going to help you again to remember the stuff. So let us just go again and revise carbonic anhydrase. Okay, so we have discussed this concept here. See, I have written here Ca. When I have written Ca, I have written here carbonic anhydrase, and near which I have written carbonic anhydrase, it is around the CRBC. So we have discussed about this enzyme in the chloride shift concept. So just quickly, we are just going to see what is the function. I am not going to explain you the whole chloride shift. It is going to take a lot of time. So let's just not go and discuss the whole chloride shift. If you want, you can refer the previous video. But for here, we are going to just see what is the function and what is the reaction that the carbonic anhydrase is going to do. So what happens? The CO2 and water are going to combine in the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase, and it is going to form H2CO3. Now I want you to remember there is a one very important point here that this reaction is actually reversible. This sign, the sign which I've written is like this. It is a reversible reaction. Okay, they might ask you a question. The conversion is what type of reaction? It is a reversible type of reaction. So what is happening? The CO2 and water are combining in presence of carbonic acid, forming carbonic acid, that is H2CO3, and again in the presence of the same enzyme. There is the same enzyme that is also responsible for splitting it into HCO3 and H plus. Now, if you want to know some chemistry, since this is a weak compound, it is unstable compound. Hence, it gets dissociated easily, and the dissociation is also favored by carbonic anhydrase. It is also favored by carbonic anhydrase, and it is a reversible reaction. So we have revised the reaction that the carbonic anhydrase is going to pass in, and we have seen where is it present. So option B would be the correct answer for this question. So let's move to our next question, number 26. So question number 26 is asking you, the skin is an accessory organ of respiration in. Now, for this, you should know some grammar, some vocabulary. They're asking you which in the given option, skin is the accessory. When they are saying accessory, it means additional and not the main. Okay, this is what they have given. Now, to answer this question, let us make a table and just I wanted to make a table along with this question so that different animals and the different route of respiration we will see and you can answer this question. Okay, so let's make a table, and this table I have derived from the NCRT, so it is actually important because line to line, word to word is being taken from NCERT because that is what the examiner, the NT is asking you. So it's better you just focus on what is being asked rather than trying to learn all the extra information. This is the information that is hidden in the NCRT, and this is what is important rather than going and finding and reading some different books. That is not needed. Just read your NCRT thoroughly and properly. So let's just focus here. What are the organs of respiration in different animals? So let's start with the basic animals, the small animals like sponges or the coelentrates. Okay, so sponges and coelentrates are very simple. They don't have very developed organs and all. So these are going to respire by simple diffusion process. Okay, simple diffusion. Now we have flatworms and we have earthworms. I have deliberately kept the flatworm and earthworm together because students tend to get confused. But if you have read the Animal Kingdom chapter, you know that flatworm is way behind in the evolution or the category, and it is not well developed. So it does not have all the organ respiration. This is also going to be with sponges and cylinder, and it is also going to respire by simple diffusion. But whereas the earthworm is going to respire with its cuticle or the moist skin. Okay, now let us move to more developed organisms present in the water. Mollusks. They are present in the water and they are going to respire with gills. Correct? Now, next we have reptiles, birds, and mammals. Reptiles, birds, and mammals. These are going to respire with simply lungs. Okay. Now, next we have amphibians. Amphibians. Amphibians are going to respire through lungs, plus they can respire through skin. This skin is going to be used mainly during hibernation. But this is just accessory. This is not main. This is the main. Okay, so with this table, I guess you might have been able to answer the question that was asked because I have just now told you that the amphibians use skin as the accessory. So just make it as a table so that you can revise it correctly. Okay, so this is the concept, and let's just apply this concept in the question. So humans, as we have seen, humans are mammals. They're going to respire through lungs. So there is no question of being skin involved as an accessory organ. Next is frog. So frog is amphibian. So yes, frog use skin as well as lungs. So option B can be the correct answer, but just not blindly mark option B. Let's go through option C and option D just quickly. You don't have to spend your time reading other options, but just have a quick glance over the other option before marking it in your OMR. Okay, because sometimes they might have just given you option B and option D, both are correct. And you know, so that's why it's important just have a quick glance over the other options. Let us have a quick glance over the other options, rabbits and lizards. So they are also going to respire through lungs. So we can say that option B is the only option that is correct, and we can mark option B as the correct answer. So let's move to a question number 27. Question number 27, they are asking you the alveolar epithelium in the lungs is. Again, this is the concept we have discussed already in the previous video. So if you see, if you see the previous year questions, you are going to find that we are discussing. We are discussing the important concepts. And when you understand this concept that we are discussing, you will be able to solve n number of questions. Like if you had been attentive and if you have understood the concept that we have studied in the previous video, you will be able to answer this question on yourself. So let us just revise it once again. Let us try to see what is the concept behind this question that is being asked. So alveolar epithelium in the lung is. So for this, I want you all to open your NCERT. Open right now. Open your NCERT and just revise it once again. If you have revised it, close your eyes, take a blank paper, and try to draw this diagram on your own. If you have revised it, will be able to draw this diagram. If you are able to draw this diagram, that means you know it, and then you can move ahead. But if you don't know, open your NCERT and just revise this diagram. So in this diagram, we have the alveolar capillary. In the diagram, you can see there is a simple squamous cell. They are simple squamous cell. Do you see? I'm going to zoom in and you can see. Do you see any cilia coming out? So no, there is no cilia and just simple squamous epithelium. So we have seen the answer for this question. That would be non-ciliated squamous. That is option B. Correct? So just go through this diagram once again. There is a single, and one more thing, they might ask you there is single layer of squamous epithelium, there is double layer of squamous epithelium. So it is given very clearly one cell thick. there is only single layer of alveolar epithelium, that is squamous non-ciliated. Correct? Now, what are the factors? What are the layers that are present? So, innermost, this is the alveolar cavity. Then one is the alveolar wall. Second is this. Second is not the endothelium. This is wrong. Okay, let's just write it once again. This is one. This is number two. This is number three. Number two is given here in a very small yellow color highlight, basement membrane. But you are supposed to make this, supposed to remember this. And then third, so you have this as the endothelium of the blood vessel. That is there. That is true. But you don't have to remember. Do not have to forget the basement membrane. So we have seen this diagram also. And we have understood this concept. So let us move ahead and solve the next question. The correct answer would be option number B. Correct. Let's move to a question number 28. They are asking you about the intercostal muscle occurs in. Okay. So just few questions back, we have discussed about the internal intercostal muscle and the external intercostal muscle in the process of inspiration and expiration. So you will be clearly able to answer this question as option C. But just in case you tend to forget what was there in this was involved, so you should remember it is in the name itself. There is coastal. So this coastal is actually referred to ribs. Okay, the correct option would be option number C. Now let us revise again that what was their function. So we have remembered a trick that triple I cannot exist together. Triple I can't exist together. That means it is going to be present in expiration and not in normal expiration, because normal expiration is a passive process. So if this is involved in expiration, that means the expiration has to be forced expiration. So we have seen what is the function and where it is present. So option C would be the correct answer, my friends. Let's move to question number 29. Again, the question number 29 is asking us what is the vital capacity of our lungs? Okay, so they are asking you about the concept of volume and capacities. Now, again, this is the concept that is being asked multiple times in various form in various questions. So now we have understood that we have to make a table related to the volume levels. And I have told you, don't have to remember the capacities, because capacities can be derived by adding various volumes. Correct? So that is what the question is asking you about, the capacity. So which capacity they are asking you? They are actually asking you the vital capacity. Now, vital capacity, as the name suggests, it is the vital thing. It is the important thing. Now, I want you to remember it as, if it is important, it means it is being utilized very frequently into our day-to-day life. This is I'm telling you so that you remember it. Our purpose is to help you do the smart work and give you some tips and tricks so that you can remember it. Correct? So I want you to remember this. So how are we going to remember this? Okay. What is vital capacity? Now I want you to do this thing what I am doing. Try to inhale as much. Take a deep inspiration. Deep inspiration. Okay. And then try to do deep expiration. So it is the amount of air that can be forced, the amount of air or the volume of air that can be expired. Deep means forcefully, right? That could be expired forcefully after we are doing this after deep inspiration. That is forceful inspiration. And vice versa is also true. Correct? Let me just show you where is this given in the NCERT. This is what we have understood. I'll just read it once again. It is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration, or the maximum amount of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration. So both ways it is correct. It is saying there is forced or deep inspiration or deep expiration. That is what we have understood here. Correct. So if there is deep inspiration and deep expiration, this is the additional. It is additional over the normal thing. What is the normal thing? The tidal volume. Correct. So ultimately, what all volumes are being involved? One is this, two is this, and three is this. So write it as VC is the vital capacity can be given as IRV plus TV plus ERV. That's it. So let us try to see which option is the most appropriate answer. So option A is giving as inspirated reserve volume plus tidal volume. No, option A is wrong. Option B is saying total lung capacity minus expiratory reserve volume. So option B is asking you total lung capacity minus expiratory reserve volume. So no, even this can't be the correct answer. Option C is telling you IRV plus ERV. Again, no, they have just forgotten about the tidal volume. So option C is also correct, the wrong answer. So ultimately, option D is the correct answer. But let us discuss it here. What is option D saying? Option D is saying total lung capacity minus residual volume. Now the examiner has been very clever here. He wants to test you that do you actually know the concept or you just have ratified and just come in the exam? Because if you have ratified, you are going to remember that vital capacity is sum of these three. Blindly, you just ratified it. But that if you have learned this, you won't be able to ask the question. You know the concept, you have remembered by heart that this is the thing, but the options are not matching. So you will go and say the question is wrong. No, my friends, the question is correct. If you try to decode this, what is TLC? TLC is the sum of all. What is the sum of all? IRV plus TV plus ERV plus RV, and vital capacity is the sum of these three. Correct? So are these both things same? So if we are going to minus, if we are going to subtract RV, this is what is left, and after subtracting RV, this are matching means TLC minus RV is actually nothing but IRV plus TV plus ERV, which is nothing but vital capacity. Okay. So you knew the concept, you knew this was the equation, but the examiner has given the option in a bit tricky way. You don't have to worry. You just have to decode it. Even TLC minus RV is giving you what vital capacity is. So option D is the correct answer. You don't have to panic that the question is wrong and the options are not matching. The both are correct. You just have to use your common sense. That's it. Okay. So let's move to our next question. The correct answer would be option number D. Okay. And if you want to add those values according to the table, you will get a value which you can do on your. Let's move to question number 30. Question number 30 is asking you select the correct statement. Okay. So see, as we have discussed, as I told you, that the question can be an inspiration, the question can be an expiration. So let us go back to the chart we have made so that we can solve this question very simply. The question A is asking you that expiration is initiated due to contraction of diaphragm. Is it correct? No. If the diaphragm is going to get contracted, if there is going to be contraction of diaphragm, there is going to be flattening of diaphragm. And if the diaphragm is going to get flat, there is going to be increase in the volume. And if there is increase in the volume, there is inspiration and not expiration. We have also written here in inspiration, there is contraction of diaphragm, correct? So option A is wrong. Let's see option B. Option B is asking you expiration occurs due to external intercostal muscle contraction. Again, simply we have written here in inspiration, the external intercostal contraction is involved in inspiration. Option B is also wrong. Expiration is a passive process. There is no need of muscle contraction. And just in case if you are doing forceful expiration, we have internal intercostal. See, I've told you, you will get confused. Even I used to get confused. Where is the external intercostal muscle involved and where is the internal intercostal? Where is the external and where is the internal intercostal muscle going to be involved? This is confusing, correct? So remember, three I cannot come together. So that means external intercostal muscle should be involved in inspiration. So option B is also the wrong. Let's see what option C is offering. Option C is saying the intrapulmonary pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure during inspiration. When you read such big, complicated statements, you might get confused. So try to break down the statements and assess what they are asking. So let us break down. They are saying the intrapulmonary pressure. That means these are the lungs. So the pressure inside the lung is lower than the atmospheric pressure. The atmosphere is at higher pressure. Correct. That is what is inspiration is. That is what is going to be inspiration. The where there is high pressure, it will move to low pressure. So we need to take air inside, and the air will come inside when there is less. Correct. If the box is already filled, can the air come inside? No. So the pressure inside the lungs has to be less than the atmospheric pressure. Then only the air will move from a area of high pressure to area of low pressure and will help in inspiration. So option C is definitely the correct answer. But do not blind it mark. You just have a quick glance. We want to have a quick glance. These things in inspiration occurs when the atmospheric pressure is less than the interpulmonary. Absolutely wrong. If we have pressure inside, the air will go out. That will happen in expiration, not in inspiration. Okay. So clearly we have option number C as the correct answer. Now, again, we have seen what is there. The concept is simply of one page, not even of one page, 4 points. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, and 4 point. If you know these 4 points, you will solve the question that is being asked on inspiration or whether it is being asked on expiration. Both ways you can solve this question easily. So try to mark these 4 points. Again, I'm requesting you to mark these 4 points so that you can revise it quickly and solve the questions, any number of questions that are coming. Okay, so we have solved this question. Now let's move to question number 31, our next question. Okay, the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration. Now, if you have carefully listened and understood what we are discussing here, you would not even take 1 second to answer this question. Just now, just in previous 1 to 2 questions, we have discussed this concept, but let's just try to discuss it again. Let's not just stick with what we discussed previously. Let us try to break the question because whenever such question about capacities or volumes used to come, even I had faced a difficulty because it was a bit overwhelming because it is like too many things are given at the same time. Some is going in, some is going out. So it's better to break the question. Break the question. Once you break the question, it becomes simple and you can easily solve it. Okay, let's just break the question. It is asking you the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in. So there is maximum inspiration, correct? The first half of the question is stating maximum inspiration. Maximum inspiration means deep inspiration means forceful inspiration. These are the three different ways of saying the same thing. This is the first. Second part is saying after a forced expiration. After a forced expiration. So here we can see there is maximum inspiration, there is maximum expiration. When you see both of them present together, it is nothing but forced vital capacity. Correct? We have discussed it right here. I'll show you again. Deep inspiration, deep expiration is vital capacity. It is, it's not FVC, my bad. It is vital capacity. FVC is a different concept. This is vital capacity. Now you have to write it again. Just tell me again, close your eyes, try to remember what is the equation for vital capacity. When we close eyes, we have three things in vital capacity: IRV plus EV plus ERV. Most of the time, you are smart enough to remember that vital capacity is maximum inspiration and maximum expiration. So you are going to mark option that says vital capacity is IRV plus ERV. Do not mark this. This is a blunder mistake. This is wrong. You have to even include the tidal volume because tidal volume is present throughout. This is the basic thing. Basic should be involved, correct? So the correct option for this question we have solved is option number C, correct? Option C is the correct answer. Again, we have a question related to volumes and capacities. Now, again, don't get overwhelmed. Let's just try to take the question as we read and then solve and think about it. They are giving you the tidal volume. So, right, tidal volume equals to, okay, they've given something. And the expirated reserve volume is given as 500 and 100, 1000, sorry. So, tidal volume is given to you as 500 ml and the ERV is given to you as 1000 ml. Now, what are they asking you is what will be his expiratory capacity? What will be his expiratory capacity means they are asking you what will it be if the residual volume is 1200 ml. Okay, now the examiner has made it simpler for you. He has given you the values. So even if you have not by hearted, even if you have not followed the instruction that we are repetitively giving you to stick the sticky note and remember and memorize the values, the examiner is saying, okay, even if you don't remember the values, tell me if you really know the concept. I have given you the value. And if you know the concept, I am ready to give you the 4 marks. So what is the concept that they are asking the examiner asking? Do you know what is expiratory capacity? Now the examiner is smart. He has given you this value, he has given you this value, and he has given you this value. But if you know only two things are involved in expiratory capacity, you do not need all three things. You just need definitely the expirator reserve volume plus. Now, is it PV or is it RV? Do you know that? Now, this is what the examiner is asking you. Is it the tidal volume or the residual volume? Now, even if you don't know, what is residual volume? It is the volume that is left after everything. So, are we trying to assess that? No. Like, in the expirator reserve volume is not going to measure the RV. In fact, RV can't be measured by any instrument. The instrument used to measure all this is the spirometer actually, and the spirometer can't measure RV. Okay, and it is not involved. The thing that is involved in expiratory capacity is actually the tidal volume. This thing is being taken directly from the NCRT. Let me show you again. I want you to once again see this line so that it directly goes and fits inside your brain. Okay, so just revise it once again. Expiratory is tidal volume plus ERV. Correct? Now, so the answer for this question would be just simply added. It is going to be 1000 plus 500. So option A is the correct answer. But let us just see once again. If that's just say about the inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, simply no extra words of residue, no extra words of vital. You just have to add TV to it. The basic thing to inspiratory, the basic thing to expiratory. That's it. Okay. So the correct answer would be option number A. Let's move to our next question, number 33. Question number 33 is saying lungs are made up of air filled sacs, the alveoli. They do not collapse even after forceful expiration because of. Okay, so this is actually not a question about volumes and capacities, but it is a question of understanding how it is saying that a person has forcefully expired. That is, you have given a maximum effort to remove all possible air. The maximum air you can remove, you have expired it out. And if you have expired out all the air, there is no air inside the lung, there is no air inside the alveoli, so they should collapse. Ideally, they should collapse. But do you think that every time you forcefully expire, you are have difficulty in breathing, you're dyspneic, you are there is a need to take you to the hospital to give you oxygen? No, there is no need. So why? What is the mechanism the body has so that even if you try to exhale out completely, your alveoli will not collapse because there is some air left, some air is left. Then only it is possible that the alveoli are not collapsing. So this some air left is the magical thing that is preventing collapse. Prevent collapse. Now it is the left air. What is the other word for left in English is residue. Residue means left behind. It is nothing but the residual volume of air, that X amount of air that is present in the lung, which is protecting the alveoli from collapsing. The correct answer for this question is option number D. Correct? All right. And what is the collapse of lung? The technical term for collapse of lung is given. Even if you don't remember, then let's find at your stage. It is atelectasis. But just in case the examiner wants to make the question difficult, instead of giving air collapse, he will write atelectasis. But since you have read this chapter with us, we have told you even what can come extra, and you will be easily able to solve this question. So let us move to next question number 34. What is this question number 34 asking you? It is asking which one of the following is a possibility for most of us in regard to breathing by making a conscious effort. In this question, if you just try to decipher it, if you just try to break down it, it is asking you among the given options, which of them is possible if we try to focus or consciously regulate our breathing. Okay, so let us just see option wise and accordingly we'll be able to select which is correct and which is wrong. A option is saying one can breathe out air totally without oxygen. No, even if you're completely conscious, you're completely attentive, and you're just saying the oxygen is required for my body, I will not allow oxygen to escape. So that is not possible, my friends. Nobody is such saying that can make this happen to just allow all the oxygen to stay inside the body. Okay, so it's not, even if you're completely conscious, it makes no sense. So option A is definitely not the answer. Option B is saying one can breathe out air through eustachian tubes by closing both nose and the mouth. Okay, let's try. We are conscious about the respiration. Close your mouth and close your nose. I want you to try it. Okay, close your nose with your hand. Use your index finger and your uh, thumb to close your nose, and don't do any cheating. Close your mouth and breathe out. Breathe out. Come on, try. You will feel that there is some feeling you're going to feel inside your ear. Just try to do it. Yes, you're able to feel, correct? So this is because of the eustachian. So yes, this is possible. You have done it right now. You are able to do it. So that means it is possible and this can be a correct answer. Now, this eustachian tube is actually connecting middle ear to your pharynx. We have seen pharynx in the course of air pathway. We have seen that. So there is a connection between the middle ear and the pharynx. Now, why is this connection required? Why is there a connection? To regulate and equalize the pressure. Now, why is there a need to equalize the pressure? This equalization is needed when you go up on the mountains, when you ascend or descend, like in planes or while scuba diving. Okay, just an example. Sometimes there is a different type of feeling when you get down from the plane or just start taking off when you're high in the sky. Since that the atmospheric pressure is different, so our body has to compensate and has to equalize this pressure. So this pressure is actually regulated by eustachian tube, and we can consciously close our nose and mouth, and when we breathe out, you can remove the air via eustachian tube. So option B is actually a correct option. But since we have already seen that we don't have to be in a hurry and just go and mark the answer, no, we are supposed to see the option C and option B. Option C is saying when you're consciously breathing in and out, you can breathe it, but you are not going to move your ribs. No, it is not possible. The movement of ribs is occurring by smooth muscles, and these smooth muscles, the external intercostal and the internal intercostal, are smooth muscles. Smooth muscles are not in our control. They are going to happen on their own. So we cannot control the movement of ribs. Okay. Option D is saying lungs can be made fully empty by forceful breathing out. No, we tried. If this would have been possible, you would have. If you just tried that right now, there would be a need for your parents to take you to the hospital. But that does not happen because some amount of air known as the residual volume is always left. So even this is the wrong option, and the only possible correct answer is option number B. So that was it for this question. Let's move and solve the last question, that is question number 35. They are asking you bulk of carbon dioxide released from the body tissue into the blood is present as. Again, same concept, multiple questions. Bulk is nothing but bulk means in large amount, and the large amount of CO2. Let's go back. You will be able to see this is HCO3. Correct? So the maximum is in the bicarbonate form. So let us see which of the following is the correct answer. So the correct answer is option number A, right in front of your eyes, and you are going to solve this question easily. So that was all, my friends, regarding to the previous year questions we have discussed here. Now you have solved the question, I have solved the questions, and we found out there are some home taking points. Home taking, yeah, you just call it yielding points. Now, these are the few points that I am telling you as some tips that if by chance you do not have enough time to revise the chapters, no worries just for this time, but you are supposed to revise it thoroughly because any question can come. But just in case you have little time and you want to revise this topic, so what is the thing that you should revise? One is the table of CO2 transport and the percentage, the sticky notes that you have made for the volumes, the expiratory and inspiratory volumes that you have made. Third, you are supposed to revise this table which we have made about the various organism and how do they respire. This table you can just go through once. Then you are supposed to revise the concept of these 4 points. One, two, three, four. Revise this. Revise chloride shift. The cycle you can revise. The examiner might ask you. And okay, these are the few important questions, and other things are the concept which you have solved in the question, and that is fine. Now let's just go through the NCRT and open your NCRTs and let me tell you what are the important things that are present. Okay, so from NCRT, I would suggest that you go through this diagram and this diagram once. Mark it right now. Mark it in your NCRT because I know where the students tend to ignore this. Go through NCRT because the examiner is just going to erase it, mark it as option A, or they are going to give you this diagram completely. And based on this diagram, nothing else is given. They would ask you if this is inspiration, this is expiration. So you should know. So go through this diagrams, this and this diagram thoroughly. Then, very, very, very important, do not forget to revise this table. By heart it, learn it, learn it. I'm saying learn it because questions will be directly from this. They're going to give you values and you can't guess the values unless you know, correct? So you go through this topic, go through this table. I want you to revise this because as it is, you have seen in the previous video that there was a question where these were marked A, B, C, and D, and they had asked correct. So you have to remember this. Okay, that's it. Remember this. And there are a few points like sigmoid. I want you to read this table once again, and that's it. So we have come to the end of the chapter and we have seen in this lecture about the previous year questions. What are the important topics? What are the high yielding topics? I have discussed with you what are the important topics in the NCRT we have discussed. So ultimately, if you have solved with us the previous year question in video 1 and video 2 and mark the things which are important in the NCRT, you are done with this chapter. Just revise it once again and you are good to go. So let's meet next time. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.